Welcome to the Rialto Marketing Podcast. Today's episode is a revenue acceleration series interview where we talk to seven-figure B2B professional service firm owners that are actively trying to grow their business and get to the next level. We talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly so that you can learn from their experience. Hi, I am Tim Fitzpatrick with Rialto Marketing, where we believe you must remove your revenue roadblocks to accelerate growth, and marketing shouldn't be difficult. Thank you so much for taking the time to tune in today. I am super excited to have Lori Tishnai from Computer Concepts with me today. Lori, welcome and thanks for being here.
And thank you for having me.
Yes, I am excited to dig into this. I have been looking forward to this chat. Before we jump into the heart of the interview, Lori, I want to ask you a few questions just to help us get to know you. Ready to jump in today?
I am ready.
Okay. Very quickly, what do you do? How long have you been doing it?
I am a technology optimization specialist, and I have been doing that for over 24 years.
That is a long time, Lori.
That's a very long time.
What's the most important lesson you've learned in those 24 years?
I think that you as a business owner always need to be reinventing yourself and reinventing your business every few years as technology changes.
Yeah, the only constant in life is change, right?
It is. We don't like it, but it's there.
Yeah, the more we can embrace it, the easier it is on us. So I know in 24 years, plenty of ups and downs, whether it was from economic circumstances or any other thing that happens in business. Do you have any kind of mantra or motivational saying that you say to yourself, share with your team to kind of push through those times?
I just usually have a mantra in my head that says, just keep going and keep doing whatever needs to be done. I don't quit. I just keep going. That's usually what we say. Both my husband and myself say that to each other. Like we just keep going.
One of my mentors said, focus on the next measurable step, which always stuck with me because it's like when we have roadblocks or huge projects, we feel it's so easy to get overwhelmed, but it's pretty simple to focus on the next small thing that you can do, that you can measure. And when we check that off, we just focus on the next one, right? And it at least helps us feel like we're making progress.
Exactly.
So, Lori, one of the things in our pre-interview, I was fascinated by a few things that you shared with me. But one of the things you talked about was just this focus of creating raving fans and how that has really helped you grow your business. How do you create raving fans? I mean, what are some of the things that you focus on that you found have really helped you?
Well, so in my business, it's not a technology business. I feel it's a customer service business because we're there to help people when they have problems. And like many people have computer problems or technology problems every day. So let me back up a little bit too. So I have as my business title a technology optimization specialist. What exactly is that? Well, we help people, small businesses, get their computers working, whether it's with a backup, protecting their data, making sure that they have, adequate security and just making sure that things are running smoothly for them or making sure that they have the right products that they're using for their business. So that's what I do in terms of a technology optimization specialist. So for me, again, it's just helping people make sure that they're comfortable with maybe what they've invested in. And in order to create raving fans, though, I think it's about not treating them like a number or that their issue is a ticket. A lot in my industry, people call things a ticket. And in the last couple of years, we implemented a ticketing system, and my clients did not like it at all. They really felt like everything then was a ticket or a number instead of just a regular flow or conversation between my team and their team. So we have the ticketing system on our back end, but nobody knows about that ticketing system.
Got it. So it's really just it sounds like you just have a hyper focus on the client and what you can do to just optimize every experience they have with you.
Correct. Well, because when they're calling us, a lot of times things aren't working, or something that they're trying to accomplish isn't working for them if they're not our client yet. So it's what can we do to help facilitate that, to make sure that things are running smoother for them, or so that they
Yeah.
understand what's happening with the technology that they've invested in.
As you talk about this, it brings me back to the first business that I was a partner in was a wholesale distribution company. And we, when we opened our second location, this was like mid to late 90s. We had to install a Citrix server. And I don't want to say anything really bad about it, but oh my God, it seemed like at least every week we were having to reboot our Citrix server and get back in there. And so, but every time we had to do that, our other location was completely down, and so it's like doing what you do, man, when stuff happens, like they can't do business. It's not working.
No. So you just want to educate. So I think that's another piece that allows you to create raving fans, is making sure that they understand what's happening to them, or understand what product they're using, or why things may happen if it does go wrong, just to, again, help alleviate the stress that they have, at least in our business, when technology doesn't work, right? Especially think about COVID in the last few years that we had to deal with. You had to deal with cameras, and everybody was on a computer every day, or, just everything needed to work, headsets. So people get stressed out.
Yeah. Are there any other things that you consciously do to create raving fans other than just hyper focused on the customer experience?
I don't know. I think people, when they're done, a lot of times they also say, wow, this was like magic. You're just making everything work together. I think trying to understand the technology that they're using, and then just making sure that everything is working the way that it should be, making sure that maybe what their next question is going to be, or what I think it may be,
Yeah.
and helping solve a problem that they didn't tell me about, but I just know it usually happens. So I try to get ahead of certain issues, maybe before they become an issue.
It seems to me too that you listen, right? You're a good listener, because as you implemented your ticketing system, you're getting feedback and you're like, oh my God, people do not like this. There are some people that would have just said, like, it is what it is. Like, we need to use this ticketing system. Whereas you were like, hey, how can we still use this so that it's efficient for us while still accommodating clients and making sure that experience is as good as possible? Because gosh, the answers are there for us. Like I see this on the marketing side all the time. Like, we need to talk to our clients, and we need to ask them the right questions and just listen to what they have to say. Because when we can hear it in their own words, from a marketing standpoint, there's a lot of gold in there. Whereas for you, like, they're complaining about it, you're listening to what the issue is, and you made it work for you, but you made it work for the clients as well, which I think is huge.
I think that's what we're doing, right? I think that's been our magic sauce. So
yeah, I as an outsider looking in, I think that's a huge part of it. And it's working for you, right? The people that you work with, love working with you. Your retention is very high.
Very high. I do know one other thing too. We answer our phones, and we try to be as personable as possible, even in our tech world. And even though I just want to respond to email and I don't want to answer my phone, or I don't want, like, we just want to work and get through some of the tasks that we have on hand. But having that connection with the client, I think, makes a big difference.
Yeah. Yeah.
With some people.
Well, there's hardly anybody picks up the phone anymore. So it's a huge differentiator, frankly. And if I've got a tech problem, I really want to talk to somebody, don't I?
Yes.
So
So yeah, we
huge.
have our front office staff. If one of us isn't available to answer the phone, she answers the phone and she diffuses and just helps them know, hey, we're here to help you. She's like, I'm not technical, but I'm here to at least tell you we're going to get you covered and we're going to take care of this issue for you.
Yeah.
So that's just part of it.
One of the things that we chatted about in the pre-interview was this Facebook group that you got involved in. And I want to break this down a little bit for people because I think there's a lot of learning lessons for people from this. But early on, you had joined a local Facebook group, which is now driving pretty consistent leads to your business. Can you just share kind of like how that got started? How much time you were investing and what's happening now?
Yes. So in the beginning, it was just a local Facebook group that a woman created so that if you lived in town and you needed a resource for something, you could find out what your neighbors are using or who your neighbor is using and also use that company. Part of the rules, though, were you could not promote yourself. Other people had to promote you or had to comment your name because they just didn't want self promoters because it
Right.
didn't mean that you were providing a good job or not. So this Facebook group is where I really learned about raving fans. I didn't even know that term before, and then I realized what had happened over time. So when someone would post, "I'm having a computer issue," or I need some support for whatever the issue may have been in terms of technology, you know, I couldn't comment myself, but other friends and customers that use my services would say, "Oh, Lori could help with that." And it just wasn't becoming one or two people commenting. It would be 50 people commenting. Lori is the best. Here's her phone number. Here's the link to her, Lori 360 site, or, she helped us do this, or Lori's the best. Or, it was the team, but they can't tag my team, but they could just tag me because I lived locally and work locally. So
Right.
it, it was crazy. I mean, literally hundreds, or sometimes 100 people would like the same post.
How
So
did you engage much in the group early on?
well, sometimes I would provide, value to somebody. Like someone would say, like, "Oh, I'm trying to find, let's say, a printer, or I'm trying to
Hmm.
pick out a computer. What do I need?" And I would say, "Well, these are maybe the 5 things that you want to ask yourself. If you're going to buy X, Y, and Z. And here's one of my favorites, and here's why." So then I would, provide an Amazon link, and then, just offer up my recommendations. So it really wasn't a lot of added information I'd be providing, but just some quick answers.
Yeah. And how long have you been in that group now?
I think that group maybe has been around for maybe 7 years, 7 years. I would say 7. And it wasn't right away where everyone in town was using it. But now
Right.
I think there's around, I'd have to check, but I would say at least 4,000 people within that in that one local Facebook group.
In that
And
group.
then there's a few other ones that are around, maybe more targeted like small business owners or, uh, if you live within a certain area where we live, there's like a couple different female groups. So I comment in there, but I love being local and working local and, you know, having people rave about me within town. So to me, that just makes a better fit for me.
Do you still go into the group now and engage?
I mean, I do. I mean, if I'm looking or seeing what other people are asking, I always like to give advice too, or like, hey, I've used this particular person or this particular company for
Yeah.
this. But usually I'm working during the day,
Yeah.
and I don't have time to be in that Facebook group. But since I've created these raving fans, sometimes people that don't even know me or use my services, right, will tag my name because they know my name is a part of the group
Yeah.
and they know that I'll be able to help. Or I have people call me and say, you know, I saved your information or I saved that screenshot hoping I would never need to use you and I need to use you.
Yeah.
So, but
Do you
yeah,
do a lot of networking within the community as well?
I did years ago, but I really have not really been networking at all. One, I mean, COVID, I mean, I would
Yeah.
do a couple seminars here and there, but there was nothing local. But in the past, yes, I would go out, to different networking groups and always be going and always being seen. So I mean, I didn't just build this up overnight.
Yeah.
People knew who I was before, but just the Facebook group got it out to more people that maybe weren't involved in the different organizations that I was in.
Do you remember how long it took before you started to get business after you joined that Facebook group?
I think right away.
So you did. So you got pretty immediate results from it.
I did because once I then worked with somebody and I performed magic or someone else on my team performed magic for that organization, they would then comment within the group. I just wanted to say that working with Lori and her team was amazing and here's what they did for me. If you ever need additional support, definitely give her a call. So not only did I get the 50 people commenting and liking, saying my
Yeah.
name, and then people would go back in and do a review about me within the group, and it would then again lead to more work and more positive feedback about the company.
Yeah. I think I love this example because it shows the power of social groups. I mean, they can be hit or miss, right? Sometimes it takes time. You gotta engage in multiple before you really find one that's gonna work. But there are some very powerful social groups out there, and you have obviously found one. Um, you got pretty immediate results. I always tell people, don't expect that because you're going to give up too early. And I think
That is
it's
true.
important to engage and add value in the group consistently, and it will start to give back. But I have a client that we've been working with for a while now who's in the home theater design space, and I know early on with his business he got involved in a couple forums, and I don't remember, it's been a while, but I don't remember how much time he spent, but he spent quite a bit of time like just jumping into these forums, giving people feedback and free advice. These were home theater enthusiasts. I want to build a theater, and here's the issue I'm running into, and he would just he would answer questions. Now I don't think he goes in there much at all, but there is so much content and so many people that have talked about him. He gets business from these forums all the time, and that's exactly what's happening with this Facebook group for you.
Yeah, and I do that too within other Facebook groups, even within my industry. I make comments. I do go to a lot of networking events within my industry, and people then refer other business to me if it's not going to work for their business, how their business model works. I then
Yeah.
get referral business from other people in the IT MSP space. So
Yeah.
uh, it's worked again, like within a specific group, my target market, and then also then just within my peers.
Yeah. Yeah. I know, Lori, you had mentioned your Lori 360 site, and you've spent a lot of time building your personal brand outside of the business brand. Why did you do that?
Well, because people, I mean, it's the old saying, right? People like to do business with people they know, like, and trust.
Yeah.
So even though people know computer concepts, they know my face and they know my name more, I think, than the business name. So for me, it was about increasing or accelerating that relationship with people because the more they know you or the more they think they know you or recognize you, I think it's easier to recognize a face than it is to maybe necessarily notice a logo or a company
Yeah.
name.
So do you spend more time building your personal brand than you do the business brand?
That's a really good question. I don't know. I feel like I haven't really been building my brand very much. I think a lot of times I'm posting about what I'm passionate about in my business. And so maybe it's really more about my personal brand than my business brand. I'm on LinkedIn, I'm posting about business, where I am, what I'm doing, what I'm learning. I post on Facebook, personal things and business things. So
Yeah.
for me, since I am that business owner and I mean, I feel like I'm married to my business, that it's one and the same for me.
Got it. How long ago, do you remember how long ago it was that you kind of made that choice where you're like, I'm going to spend some time on my personal brand?
So it wasn't a conscious decision. I knew, like, I started going, I wanted to improve my business a little bit more. I felt like I was in a rut and I needed to start thinking about things differently. This was maybe year 5 years ago. And so I went to a couple of events that were, just business events, not specific to my industry, just for entrepreneurs in general. And I noticed this, gentleman that was talking about branding and personal branding, and I loved it. I was like, I think that's great because I am more than just computer concepts. You know, I do things with my husband in the
Yeah.
maritime industry. I host events for Peters in my industry. So what am I going to do? Hand out 5 different business cards when I'm out and about? So for
Yeah.
me, the Lori 360 site came into play because I have more than just one business. And at the time, we had a lot of different businesses. And so I just wanted to make it easier for people to locate me.
Got it.
And
It's
that's
interesting.
through my personal brand. Because let me tell you, trying to keep up with, you know, 4 different Facebook pages for a business, different businesses, or,
Uh-huh.
4 different LinkedIn pages, plus there's not enough time in a day to post on all of
Yeah.
those. So I just wanted to mash them all together,
Yeah.
which is me.
Yeah, it's interesting because like in the marketing space, I can think of, I have two people that just pop right into my head who have large companies, but a lot of what they do is focused on just building their personal brand, and their personal brand drives traffic and interest to their business. And I think, I mean, but you can do it either way, right? And I think it really just depends on what you want from your business and where you want to go. Um, but there's plenty of examples of people that have built very successful personal brands, and those personal brands just help drive everything for their business. So I think it's interesting. You're one of the first people that I've talked to that's actually mentioned personal brand, which is why I wanted to bring it up, um, because it's worked well for you. And
It has. And I give a presentation about, what I call branding in the sales cloud. And, it's more than just that getting the client. You have to do all these other things or all these other pieces. And so it's just my take on it.
yeah,
But I have a lot of pushback from other business owners that's saying, I don't want to be the brand. I don't want to be the face of the business because then if I sell my business, then, I'm not the brand. But for me, I think it helps grow because, again, people know, like, and trust you. So that's how that's how you're closing a deal anyway, is because people know you.
yeah,
Again,
yeah.
it's not about a logo to
I think
me.
I think it can work either way, right? I see the idea of, hey, I don't want people to buy me. I don't want the business to be tied to me because I want to be able to sell it and all that. And I understand that side of it. Um, but you said something that I think is super important that a lot of people overlook, where you were just like, hey, look, when I'm dealing with potential clients directly, they're dealing with you, right? And they're buying you in the beginning, and building your personal brand up front has helped you increase and accelerate the speed at which you can develop that relationship, which I think is really easy to overlook. So just wanted to pull that out because I think that's a huge advantage.
Well, there's some other statistics too. I believe it takes 7 times for someone to hear your name or your company
At
name to
least.
remember
Yeah.
it,
Hmm.
right? To even like maybe have some recognition, like, hey, I know that face or I know that name.
Yeah.
And then most buyers have already made the decision of who they're going to do business with. I think it's like 89%. I could be wrong. I know I have a couple statistics, but it's a very large number. They've already made that decision before they've even gotten to your company website because they've seen other people talk about you or
Yeah.
mention you. So that's what you do. You want to see that social proof. It's not about going to Yelp or going to Google reviews. That may help as well in times, but it's really what are other people saying about you, either online or behind your back,
Yeah.
when they're talking about something and they need
Yeah.
help with it. And they're like, oh, you know what? I have heard of her before. I totally forgot about her or about that company, but I've heard them before, so I'm going to give them a call. Great idea. And that's what happens.
Yeah. How many people do you have on your team at this point? You have a smaller team.
So we have 3 people on the team, and
Okay.
I am looking to grow. So very exciting news. We just got the new location uh, open. So we're going to be expanding. So I've got a bigger space that just happened yesterday.
Very
So
cool.
what is it called? The management company finally, finished, painting and putting the new rugs in. So I'll have some cool new things to post in the next couple days.
Yeah, I love that. And I know staffing is a challenge for a lot of business owners um, in this current climate. Anything in particular that you're doing to try and help solve that issue for you?
So what's crazy, I never thought like a year ago I would have said no. 6 months ago I would have said no. I'm not looking to, we've been working remote. We worked remote before. We're great working remote, but I think there is a difference when you're onboarding new team members to be in one place pretty consistently.
Yeah,
So I think by having this new space to be built out by, we're going to be working with some interns to, help facilitate them learning about the business and, different aspects of either technology or cybersecurity. And I just think it's going to be a hub where you're going to want to come and be a part of it, even if it's just for a few hours a day, beat traffic. But I think being together in a group will really help. So I think
yeah.
having this new space will help with that.
Have you used the Facebook group to try and find people?
No, like which face? Well, so again, I have lots of different Facebook groups, but
So I was thinking because the local Facebook group. Have you tried that?
no. So one of the reasons why I don't is I don't want to incorporate having maybe a client's child or someone that is local to the
Yeah,
neighborhood learning about. I mean again, when we're working with people on their technology, we see everything. We're either
yeah.
going into people's homes or, connecting to machines. I just don't know if I want other people to see information or
That.
know who our customers are locally. So I haven't done that, but
Yeah.
where in another community where our office is going to be, which is a little bit further away. I'm sharing it with my husband, but uh, I will be working within that community to find some local help.
Got it. And then are you looking for interns like from the local colleges?
Well, in the past, I've worked with actually it's where I went to college. So I've always had a close relationship with the school. So I've worked with a lot of students there every year. Either they were marketing interns or tech interns or business interns. But I've recently been approached by a high school near where my husband has his office, and they have 4 high schools, and a lot of these kids aren't going to be going on to college. And so the high school has actually been awarded grant money to help pay the kids to go get the intern, but they just need a place that will invest in a high schooler to
Hmm.
give them the time to be trained. So
Yeah.
to me, I think it's a win-win and, get them trained up. So I've been really excited about that. So I'm going to be working with a local high school for a group of interns anyway to see how it works out.
I think it's a great, just outside the box way of approaching it. Because I think a lot of people probably aren't thinking about that or might be a little bit more closed off to it. But, like I just had a conversation with the MSP and the guy got started. He was a park ranger. I mean, that was his first professional gig was a park ranger. He has no degrees in technology at all. It's all self-taught and learned over time. And I think there's a lot of people in the tech space that are like that are incredibly capable people. So
Yeah,
uh,
so I'm doing that, and what's neat about what the high school is doing is they're working with uh, uh, like an organization called CompTIA, and they provide guidelines for people in our industry, and the kids are getting different certifications, but again, they need experience. It's one thing I've learned in some of my other Facebook groups that I'm in, where people are trying to break into the industry. They're smart people. They've come from other industries. They want to learn. They have an interest, but they have no experience.
yeah,
So to create this hub where people can come and learn, that want to learn, that need the experience, I'm all for being able to provide that. So
yeah.
that's like my new passion project coming up this year.
I can't wait to hear how that goes. You're certainly not, you're not going to have a problem finding people, right? So it's just a matter of seeing how well people adapt and learn, right?
Yeah. So I'm excited about it. And there's what's interesting, I've got the high school kids, and then I was at a couple of other events, and I met a woman at another event where she's a teacher at a college and she teaches math, but she doesn't want to be a college professor anymore. She wants to get into, IT, cyber type work, but again, she has no experience. So I said, well, let's chat this summer when you're done with school, and let's see if I can provide you some type of experience. I can't spend all my time, getting everybody geared up with
Right.
with without them being able to actually do some work, you know, as well. So we'll see how it all works out. But I think it should be a win-win for everybody.
Yeah. So what's next, Lori? What are your aspirations for the future? You're moving into a new office. You got this new intern program that's kicking up. What else? What else is on
I,
the docket?
I think for me, it's just being more efficient. And I do want to become more creative. I have my goal is to actually start doing more recordings that I always tell other people to do, like get online, start creating little videos. I just haven't had the time because we've been so busy just really growing, with our customers every week. That's, I may not have large clients every day, but I do have a consistency of new customers that are coming through the door.
Yeah.
And even if I don't work with them, they know that I'm always a good resource for them, even in the future. So I actually, I, I can tell you a story. So I proposed a company. I didn't win the job, but I still continued to work with the owner of the company on his Macs because the company that he ended up going with didn't want to work on Macs. But he ended up having a significant cyber issue, cyber concern, and he knew that I was all about, making sure people's information is protected. So he called me looking for some resources, and I was able to help him out. So to me, I think it's just always putting your best foot forward and just always helping people out and just making sure again that they're informed and educated.
Um, Tom, I don't want to go too far down a rabbit hole here, but
Yeah.
you talked about video. I love video. I think there are a lot of people that want to do video content that have a hard time getting into it. So I want to try and add some value to people here. What are you thinking about doing from a video standpoint? Are you thinking about shooting short form video that you can promote on social?
Really short.
Yeah.
So I just, there are, I don't know if I'm always on social media.
Yeah.
And so I'm sitting there watching the reels. I love these
Yeah.
reels. I love just getting like three new tips. Like, oh, I didn't know about that. Well, I didn't know
Yeah.
about that. And I did see one gentleman, you know, I didn't know him in my space or my industry. I really don't quite know what he does. I haven't, social media stalked him enough, but he pops up in my feed and he has thousands of views on these quick tips, like things that we do every day that I don't even think about being a tip. But
Hmm.
that's what people are doing today, and that's providing value.
Yes.
So it may not bring you your best target market, but
Yeah.
it might be worth a try. I mean, you know,
Yeah.
did Gary Vee think that he was going to become as big as he was by just creating little snippets of video?
No.
So you don't know where it's
Yeah,
going to be.
you don't know. So I'll share with you my process for this. And I'm not saying I have the best process, but this is what works for me, because you're talking about most of these short form clips are like 30 to 60 seconds. They're not long. One of the things that I do is I just have a list. In my note taking software, I have a list of all my content ideas. And as I get ideas, I just put them on the list and I keep a running tally so that every time I go, and it's very easy, you touched on this, for us to kind of overlook, like, there's stuff we're doing every day that could be a tip, but we don't think about it. We just need to
Yep.
get into that mindset where we are thinking about it and we're noticing it. And I just put them on the list. And once a week, I go in. It's nothing special. I grab my phone, I shoot a vertical video on my phone, and I just run through the list. And I do 5 a week. I shoot 5 short form videos. Usually it takes me 20 to 30 minutes to shoot 5 short form videos. And then I just upload them. And then, one of the guys on my team that manages that stuff takes it from there. If you don't have people on your team, again, this doesn't have to be difficult. There's a lot of really good, we don't do much editing, but we do add captions and we add some headlines here and there. It's not as difficult as a lot of people think. And the thing that I love about video is it helps people get to know you. Like, there's people that I don't know, but maybe they've seen me, they've heard my name, they hear me speak. They just at least start to get an idea of what I'm like.
I agree. So not in my business per se, but we were in Michigan. My husband was doing a yacht survey. And so the yacht is behind us. And I always travel with a selfie stick,
Yeah.
and like literally in my bag, in my purse, it's with me, and little portable mics that are just easy clips, and they all charge in a little case. I love it. I mean, I have other ones, but this has now become my new favorite tool. And we just finished for the day. And I'm like, okay, well, Bill, we just need to do a quick 2-minute video. And he's like, Lori, I don't want to do a video. I'm like, just 2 minutes. We're here. It's a great background. Let's just do it. Here's the mic. And I just put it on him, and he didn't have a choice. Right. And so I just was asking him questions in the background. I didn't do a go live. I just did a recording just to take off that stress of going live and if it was going
Yeah.
to work right. So I used the cinematic view on the iPhone 14, which is amazing. And we just did questions. And I said, hi, I'm Lori. I'm going to be interviewing Bill here today. So Bill, tell us a little bit about yourself and, tell us about what you did, during the survey today. I posted it on his Facebook page within like 3-4 days, 100 views, not a lot. I then personally shared it. And then we got up to like 1,000 views. I haven't looked at it again, but within just a few more days, that really just started to spread.
Yeah.
So we've done other videos where all of a sudden it's been sometimes like 100,000.
Yeah.
Just a quick little snippet, and
You just
not
never know.
professional. Yeah, you never know.
You never know. So, knowing what you know now, anything you do differently?
Anything I do differently? I think for me, I've always been afraid to hire and to grow because I've been through, you know, economic downtime. I've been through lots of things, owning a business for the same, 24, 25 years. So I think for me, would hire, I would take the leap and hire earlier instead of using contractors all the time, which has really been what I've always done. But I think hiring internally first would have been maybe my first choice. Something I would do differently.
Yeah, I love it. Lori, thank you so much. It's been a great interview. You've shared a lot of cool stuff that I haven't talked to people about. So thank you for doing that. Where can people learn more about you?
They can learn more about me at lori360.com. And my name, Lori, if you're listening to the podcast, is LORI, and it's the numbers 360.com.
I love it. And notice we're sending people to your personal brand page. So I love it. Thank you so much for taking the time, Lori. Those of you that are watching, listening, I appreciate you. Lori shared a number of things here that have helped her grow, accelerate growth. If you want to know which of the 9 revenue roadblocks are slowing down your growth, you can find that over at revenueroadblockscorecard.com. In less than 5 minutes, you'll be able to discover and assess which of those roadblocks are slowing you down. You can also always connect with us over at rialtomarketing.com. So, Lori, thank you.
Thank you.
Till
Nice
next time.
meeting you.
Yes. Till next time. Take care.
Thanks.